Well then, Darren, a couple of days to go before the big kick-off. Do you feel you're where you want to be at this moment?
Yeah, I do. I feel the players have had a really good pre-season. Touchwood, we've only got Matty Godden that's going to be unfit for the opening game. They look strong. They've had plenty of game time. They've all got the 90 minutes in what he wanted. So no, it's gone well.
Would you say overall that the summer has been as smooth as you could have hoped? Obviously, when it comes to transfers, you don't necessarily get everyone you want, and there'll be bumps in the road. But overall, has it been pretty smooth?
I think it's been very good. I think we've got the ones that we wanted. I think that's important. The recruitment's been very strong. We had to wait to get the right central midfield player, and that was the only one that we sort of had a little bit of a time delay on, if you want. But all the rest were in by then. We've managed to get younger players in that we can develop. We've managed to get the experience of George Boyd and Mark Beavers. We've managed to get that bit of pace we were missing last season, so we've ticked a lot of boxes. The frustrating thing has been not getting players out. That's been the biggest problem this summer, and that's been the disappointment. But we're hopeful that before the window shuts, the ones that we're happy to let go are gone.
Yeah, it's been fantastic, hasn't it? That from the first day of pre-season, I think other than George, you've had everyone here, which makes a huge difference on the training ground. Yeah,
it makes a huge difference for me as a manager to be able to get my work done without players coming in 2s and 3s. And when we sat down in the summer, myself, chairman, the owners, Barry, Bob, discussing recruitment, what we needed, what I felt we needed, they were totally in agreement. But the good thing was we wanted to get it done quickly, which we did, which meant we had a full pre-season with them. Only Boydie coming in a little bit later. But yeah, it's been good, and I've been delighted. And obviously I've had plenty of pre-seasons now where sometimes the results have been good, but the only thing I was interested in was injuries, and fortunately we've sort of come through pretty unscathed.
Yeah, pretty much the best you could hope for. I think when we spoke earlier in the summer, you were talking about the importance of balance, and it must be great not only with the personnel that you've got in, but you talk about adding that bit of pace and all the rest of it. The squad now has the balance in all of the areas and all of the skill sets that you were looking for.
Yeah, it's a very young squad, which I wanted. I wanted quite a younger squad this season to work with, but it's one that's got a lot of scope to improve, and added to the ones that we brought in, as I've said, to the ones that we had last season. There's lots of improvement in the ones that we kept from last season, but there's good flexibility to it. I think there's good strength, good guys as well. That was the key. Good people, decent lads, want to improve, want to enjoy the training sessions, do enjoy the training sessions. I've managed to tweak things with my staff as well, which is vitally important. So there's been improvements there as well. So no, it's been very good.
Yeah, and one of the advantages of putting together a real front foot squad, if you like, is that you have your destiny in your own hands. You can really go out and make things happen. You've got the goals, you've got the players who can create things.
Yeah, I think you've always got the destiny in your own hands. It's always about what you do. As a group, we want to continue improving. We want to be competitive in every game. We want to set standards of our work rate and our attitude and application first and foremost. There's going to be games we lose. There's going to be games we don't do so well in, but we have to make sure that we're at it in every game, every training session, and generally that's the feeling I'm getting.
Given the journey that you've been on with Posh now over the past decade, would promotion this time around be the biggest achievement given everything that's gone before?
I don't know. Each one's different. I've been fortunate to have 4, 3 here, and everyone is different. What I feel as a manager is we have been out of the Championship, even though I've not been here, for too long now. And the aim of the club, in terms of where we want to go, it's pivotal we get into that Championship to be able to make sure everything else develops around that. So I'm fully aware of the responsibilities of myself and the expectations. I've got to be honest, we couldn't have had any more support in terms of the chairman and Jason and Randy. Not only in the recruitment but in everything else. So we need to deliver, we know that, but there'll be no panic. There'll be ups and downs, and it's just a case of every season. we've obviously got the opening game Saturday. I don't like it, the opening game. There's lots of funny results. It's a case of just getting the job done and getting the points. I like the routine of a season starting and get going. I find that's a lot more comfortable. So we're all looking forward to it, and I'm sure we'll put everything into it.
Yeah, and you talk about having all of the tools and having what you wanted. It's a great position to be in, isn't it? Even having that pressure of having what you want and knowing that you're under a bit more pressure to deliver. You'd much rather that than not have the right tools.
No, listen, we feel we have. Only time will tell, and on paper it looks fine, but that's nothing. Only time will tell what we've got, and the players are fully aware of that. They've got a responsibility as well to deliver, and they know that, to not only deliver results but hopefully exciting football that we want to play. But it's only in a bit of paper at the moment. We've got to deliver the performances and results that we expect of each other, never mind anyone else, and the players are fully on board with that.
Yeah, and you talk about the opening day of the season being a bit different for all manner of reasons. I guess particularly for you this time around because you haven't had a home friendly, which means for some of those players they'll be walking out at London Road for the first time.
Well, we're going to train there tomorrow, so it makes sense, like you say. There could be 7 or 8 new starters from last season, so we're going to train there tomorrow, not for long, just for them to get a feel of it. We're going to have a video meeting there as well, like we will do on Saturday, so there'll be a general feel of a sort of game day, which I think is going to be important.
And with the team selection, you mentioned Matty Godden and the difficulties that he's had. Is he definitely ruled out then?
He's the only one that's out. Everyone else is fit. Madison's got through the week fine, in fact very well. Matty's got a problem that's carried over from last season. We've had a couple of scans. There's nothing really in the scans, so it's a case of building him back up probably for the next week and then get him back involved in some games. Yeah, presumably for Marcus and I guess maybe one or two of the others as well at this stage, one of the things you're really looking at is the match fitness as well. If you have missed a part of pre-season, inevitably that comes into the thinking. Yeah, it does, but with Marcus it probably would have only been an hour, even if he'd have been played against Grimsby, he'd only played an hour, so we probably looked at the maximum he's done's an hour, the maximum we'll get out of him against Fleetwood's an hour, so it hasn't altered much. He's definitely in my thinking. Has Mark O'Hara worked his way properly back into your thinking, as it were? What's his situation ahead of the weekend? Well, Mark's one I haven't worked with before, so all the others I have, and sort of had made my mind up. And with Mark, I wanted to get the opportunity to work with him. We took him to Spain. He's played in pretty much all the pre-season games. The ones that he's sort of, when we mixed the teams up, he's shown that he's got some really good attributes that I like. He's got a really good attitude, good character. Obviously his strengths are running. We have to improve him in other areas, as he knows. He's also shown he can be very good at centre half, so it gives me different options. So the situation with Mark, as he knows, he's obviously still on the list. We have to accept that we need players out the door and we need money back in. So that'll remain the case, but of course, he's figured and he probably will. Yeah, and one player who has particularly impressed you, I think, during pre-season, Idris Kanu. Yeah. And handy for him that he can play a part with the club home development grown player rule. Yeah, that's going to be difficult for me actually, each game, because I've got him, Burrows and Barker, and all three have done very well. So it's going to be a bit of a difficult. Now, all three could be on the bench. I'm not saying it has to be just one, and certainly that could be the case on Saturday. Is that a good example of the rules in that situation doing what they're supposed to do, in that it puts you in a position where you're going to give a chance to those players where some clubs might, some might not, but the rules are there to help in that sense? Well, the rules obviously changed last season and it was 1, and then they had a vote, all the clubs in the Football League, and I think 9 voted for it to go back to 0. Personally, I think it should be 2. I think they should have 2. I think we've got to start developing our own players. I think we've shown this season that obviously with recruitment, but we've recruited some really good young ones, added to the ones we've got in the system, that we didn't want any real loan players, if any, 1, maybe 2, but probably maximum. So we're happy to develop our younger players, and I think it should be 2 out of 18. I don't think that's a lot to ask. And just a word on Fleetwood, it's always slightly trickier at this stage. You've alluded to it already with some of the results that you get on the opening day, but what do you make of what you've seen of them? Good team. Joey's recruited good players. And you always know when you look at when clubs have brought players in, you think that's a good signing. He's brought in. Suter's come back on loan that he had last season. He's a good centre half for this level. Andrew, I know, good, very, very good left back. Morris, Coots, they've brought some good players in. So it'll be a tough game. We've had a good look at them in the last, all the pre-season games. The last couple they seem to have settled on a formation, but main focus will be on us. But obviously we've done our homework on them, and the players will be aware of it, of their strengths and weaknesses.